Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to PPS Lab Sessions. In previous lab session, we looked at few programs related to loop structures, like iterations. We looked at program number 15, 16, 17, single loop, and we also discussed 29, 30, and 31 nested loops and patterns. So I hope that everyone has completed those 6 programs, and if not, you still have time to complete those programs now. What I planned today is we will go for program number 18 to 22, 18, 19, 20, 21, and 22. So let us discuss those programs first. Then I'll show you 1 or 2 programs here, and then you'll have your time to perform all those programs. So the first one, 18th program, says write a program to reverse a number. By the way, we have covered this reverse number program in lecture session also, right? So let us discuss that entire logic or the process. So I'm just going to discuss that reversing a number process here. I'll not show you that program. We had done that program already in the lecture. Lecture recordings are uploaded, so if you want to refer those things, you can. But before we move on and have a look at the next program, let us discuss this one, how we can reverse a number. Okay, if any number is given to you, then how you can reverse it, because that is not a string, it's a number, and it's going to be the mathematical process that we need to perform to reverse it. Okay, so we'll go through the same understanding that we have seen in lecture. So let me go to that discussion part. Now this is what we have discussed in lecture. Like if you have 1234, that's the number, then the reverse number will be 4321. That's what you want to do. Now to reverse this one, we need to understand first how number has been created. So when we talk about 346, right, then the reverse will be 643. So 346, which means you are going for 340 and 6, which is nothing but digit 3 multiplied by 10 raised to 2, digit 4 multiplied by 10 raised to 1, and digit 6 multiplied by 10 raised to 0. And if you understand this process, then obviously you can create 643 also. Digit 6, 4, and 3 multiply by 10 raised to some power. And that power depends on what is the position of your number, your digit, right? And to understand that thing, we had discussed this process. So if you want your number 346 to be reversed, then first of all, we need to extract those digits. We need these digits 3, 4, and 6. We need it separately so that we can multiply that digit with 10 raised to some power, and we can add it to the previous answer, and so on. That's what the process we need to go through. And to extract those digits, we have modulo operator, which gives us reminder. So if you have 346 number, then in the first iteration, okay, what you are going to do is you will modulo this number by 10. So you'll have digit 6, reminder 6, and you'll divide that number by 10. So 6 will be removed. You'll have 34 only. So this 34 will be propagated to the next iteration, and 6, the single digit that you have extracted, will go to the answer. But before you add it to the answer, what you are going to do is you are going to multiply that thing. Okay, you are going to multiply that thing with 10. Now existing answer, whatever you have, you will initialize it with current answer, or the initialization of your answer variable will be 0. So multiply that with 10 and then add 6 into that. So initial result, you will initialize it with 0, make it 0, and whenever you are going to add a current digit, before that previous answer will be multiplied by 10, and then you add your current digit. That's the thing happens. Previous answer multiplied by 10, and then you add your current digit. Again, previous answer will be multiplied by 10, and then you add your current digit. So that's the repetitive process we go through. So this is the process. This is the entire process. Your current result is 0, multiply it by 10, so 0, and add the current digit. So your result will be 6. Then 6 multiply by 10, 60, and add your current digit 4, so answer becomes 64. In the next iteration, 64 multiply by 10, 640, and add the current digit 643 will be the answer. So this was the process. In every iteration, you are going to perform these two operations first. Your current number will be modulo 10 divide 10. And then you will perform two more operations, multiplication and addition, as shown here. Right? So that's how you can reverse your number. Any given number, you can reverse it through this process. And need not to be bother of what will be the power of 10, because the more number of digits your number has will be the lengthier path, or will be the number of iterations. And in every iteration we are multiplying our current result by 10. So initially it is 10 raised to 1, in second iteration it becomes 10 raised to 2, in third iteration it automatically becomes 10 raised to 3, and so on. So if there are 5 iterations, it goes 10 raised to 5. So we need not to be bothered of how many digits are there in our number. We will do this process and it will handle all those things. Just make sure that this must be within the range of integer. Okay. So if you do something like this one, 32767. Now this is the range, positive range, highest number you can store inside integer data, right? So you cannot reverse this thing using integer, because reverse of this will become 7672223, and this goes beyond the range of integer. So you will not be able to reverse this number properly. If you go and reverse this one, you will not have this answer, it will be something else. So just make sure that whatever number you give as an input and whatever the result need to be calculated, both these things must be within the range of integer data. That's it. Okay. So this is the reversing a number. And we have already created this program in lecture. So that's one thing. That's the 18th program. Now I'm not going to show you the code right now. You will do your code by yourself. Okay. Well, let's discuss the next one. The 19th program. It says write a program to generate first n numbers. Okay, first n number. पहले 10 नंबर या पहले 15 नंबर या पहले 20 नंबर जनरेट करना है of Fibonacci series. Now that's the series. If you have idea, then let me show you. The Fibonacci series is something like this. It is 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, and so on. So first two terms are 0 and 1, and then starting from the third term, it is actually the addition of first two terms. Okay, not the first two always, but previous two terms. So 1 plus 1 gives you 2. 1 plus 2, let me use another pen so that you will be more clear. 0 plus 1 gives you 1. 1 plus 1 gives you 2. 1 plus 2 gives you 3. 2 plus 3 gives you 5. 3 plus 5 will give you 7, and so on, right? So if T1 and T2 is your first and second term, then T3 will be T1 plus T2. This is how you can calculate the third term. And that's the logic we need to use here. So definitely when you want to start this series, you need to have initialized two terms. First and second term, you have to initialize it. But starting from the third term, you can calculate all those terms. And that's the program we need to do. Now, if you focus here, if you have a look at this pattern, then what we are doing, we are adding previous two terms every time. So repeatedly, we are going to add previous two terms to calculate the current one. Third term, you can calculate by adding previous two terms, T1 and T2. And that's what you need to implement. Now, once you have T3, simply print it. That's it. Okay, so if you want to do this program, let me show you this program so that you'll be much clearer. Again, if you haven't practiced for loop for 1 or 2 days, let us revise it. So, well, this is, I believe, A-Batch. So now I'm going for VS Code always, and I'll go for the proper folders. So lab A, let me create. This is practical 19, right? .c, that will be my file. And I can go for the comment. Sorry. Okay. Let us bring this text. That's my 19th program. Now let's start it. So we'll go for include stdio.h integer, sorry, int main. Now what we want is, we need to have terms t1. Let us initialize it with 0. Then term 2, second term, initialize it with 1. And term 3, we will be calculating every time in the iterative process. Okay. So we need third variable, but we are going to calculate that third term from the iterative process. So these three things we will require. Now we also want to ask user how many terms you want to print. So let us have number of terms, n. Okay, so we can print a message, enter number of terms you want to print. Okay, and let us take that number, scanf, %d, and %n. So user has given us a number of terms. If user says I want 5 terms, then we are going to print 5 terms only. If user says 15 terms, then we are going to print 15 terms. Okay. Now first 2 terms we already have it. Now let us print a series. So it's a Fibonacci series. This is where I have started, and in the same line I'm going to print the entire series. Okay, so %d for first term, space, %d for second term, space. Now let us print those 2 terms here. So t1 comma t2. Now first 2 terms are fixed, so I have directly printed that thing. But starting from the third term, I'm going to calculate it. So we say T3 will be equals to T1 plus T2. This is how we calculate third term, and then we can print it. Printf percentage D. So this is the third term and space. I'm going to print it T3. So that will print my third term. But now these two statements need to be repeated. क्योंकि थर्ड के बाद फोर्थ टर्म भी मुझे फिर से प्रीवियस दो टर्म को ऐड करने से मिलेगा. सो आई नीड टू रिपीट दीज टू स्टेप्स. सो हम क्या करेंगे, वी आर गोइंग टू पुट दिस थिंग इनसाइड अ लूप, लेट्स से for loop. So I'm going to create a loop here, and this loop will decide the number of terms. मैं जितनी बार इसको iterate करूंगा उतनी ज़्यादा terms print होंगी, right? So again we need to have a loop control variable. Let us declare it I, so that I can start I equals to 0. Let me start it from 0 right now. Later on I'll tell you it won't be 0 here. So what we do here is I equals to 0, I less than n, I plus plus, and we are going to iterate this one. So T1 T2 ऐड होके मुझे T3 मिल जाएगा. मैं T3 को प्रिंट करूंगा. अब T3 प्रिंट हो जाने के बाद जब आप नेक्स्ट इटरेशन में आओगे, ओके, तो आपको क्या करना पड़ेगा, यू हैव टू अपडेट योर T1 एंड T2. व्हाई? लेट मी शो यू. 0 or 1, okay, you were having these two terms 0 and 1, and based on that you have printed this one also. But when you go for the next iteration, these are the three terms you are going to consider. जहाँ पे ये हो जाएगा T1, ये हो जाएगा T2, तो आपको T1 T2 जो पहले थे उससे अब अपडेट करने होंगे. Which means actually earlier you were having T1, T2 and T3 like this way, but then you have to shift those three to the right side. This becomes T1, this becomes T2, and next T3 you are going to calculate. उसका मतलब क्या हुआ कि जो T2 में है वो T1 में डालोगे, जो T3 में है उसको T2 में डालोगे, तो आपके T1 T2 अपडेट हो जाएंगे और नया T3 आप कैलकुलेट कर पाओगे. ओके, नाउ that's what the process we have to do here. So before I go for the next iteration, यहाँ पे मैं क्या करूँगा, T1 को अपडेट करूँगा T2 से और T2 को अपडेट करूँगा T3 से, so that in the next iteration मैं नया T3 कैलकुलेट कर पाऊँ. Okay. Well, this is the code actually. Let me save this one, and if we go and run this thing, then it'll ask enter the number of terms you want to print. Let's say अभी मुझे 6 terms चाहिए, so I'll say I want 6 terms to be printed. So it has given me number of terms here. Fibonacci series, first term, second term, ये आ गया डायरेक्ट T1 T2 से. और उसके बाद देख लो, एवरी टाइम प्रीवियस दो टर्म का एडिशन होगा. 1 + 1 2, 1 + 2 gives you 3, 2 + 3 5, 3 + 5 8. Sorry, my mistake here. This should be 8, not 7. Okay, so 3 + 5 8, 5 + 8 13, and so on. So the logic is perfect. The Fibonacci series that has been created here is perfect. But when I say I want 6 terms, यहाँ पे टोटल कितनी टर्म्स प्रिंट हो गई देखो, 1 2 3 4 5 6. अब यहाँ पे खत्म हो जाना चाहिए, लेकिन उसने 2 टर्म ज्यादा प्रिंट की. क्यों? क्योंकि हमने जब लूप चलाई तो हमने लूप के अंदर ही 6 टर्म्स प्रिंट किए. ऑलरेडी जो 2 टर्म हम प्रिंट कर चुके हैं उसको तो हमने कंसिडर किया ही नहीं. सो इंस्टेड ऑफ स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम 0, आपने 2 टर्म तो ऑलरेडी प्रिंट कर चुके हो. सो यू मे स्टार्ट इट फ्रॉम either 1 या 2. 1 से स्टार्ट करो तो ठीक है, अगर 2 से स्टार्ट करोगे तो यहाँ पे आपको इक्वल्स अप टू इक्वल जाना पड़ेगा. So let us save and see. So again I'll run and say I want 6 terms. So 1 2 3 4 5 6. Oh, equals to तक नहीं जाना है अगर मैं 2 से स्टार्ट करता हूँ. अब क्यों नहीं? So that depends from where you start. 0 से स्टार्टिंग गिनते हो या 1 से स्टार्टिंग गिनते हो. अगर 0 से स्टार्टिंग गिनते हो, ठीक है, तो 0 और 1 टर्म ऑलरेडी प्रिंट हो चुके हैं. अगर 1 से स्टार्टिंग गिनते हो, ओके, तो 1 एंड 2 दो टर्म प्रिंट हो चुके हैं. अगर 1 से स्टार्टिंग गिनते हो, यहाँ पे 3 लिखो तो इक्वल्स टू 6 तक जाना पड़ेगा. और यहाँ पे अगर आप 2 लिखते हो तो आपको लेस देन n तक जाना पड़ेगा. सिंपल. Okay, so now if I run this code and give the 6 terms, then we'll have proper 6 terms only. Because we have printed 2 terms already, loop के अंदर हम उतनी कम प्रिंट करेंगे, उतनी terms कम प्रिंट करेंगे. That's it. Okay, so this is the Fibonacci series logic. Okay, I hope I'm clear. And that leads to the next program. So we have seen reverse number in lecture Fibonacci series just now. Then third one, write a program to find out sum of first and last digit of a given number. Well, अब ये आपके लिए आसान हो जाएगा अगर आपको रिवर्स नंबर करना समझ में आ गया है. तो ये कैसे कर सकते हो? सम ऑफ फर्स्ट एंड लास्ट डिजिट. अगर फर्स्ट डिजिट और लास्ट डिजिट आपको मिल जाए तो सिर्फ सम करना है. लास्ट डिजिट कैसे मिलेगा? मॉड्यूलो 10 से आपको लास्ट डिजिट मिल जाएगा. करेक्ट. पहली बार एक बार आप मॉड्यूलो 10 कर लो तो आपको लास्ट डिजिट मिल गया. अब फर्स्ट डिजिट कैसे मिलेगा? तो आप क्या करोगे, हर बार आप अपने नंबर को डिवाइड बाय 10 करते जाओ जब तक आपका नंबर लेस देन 10 नहीं होता. रिपीटेडली you divide your number by 10 till your number is greater than 10. जब वो less than 10 हो जाए आपको ब्रेक कर देना है लूप. सिंपल. जैसे ही वो less than 10 होता है तो वो आपको एक सिंगल डिजिट देगा and that will be the first digit. Remember, डिवाइड बाय 10 करते जाओ तो लास्ट में जो सिंगल डिजिट बचेगा वो आपका पहला डिजिट होगा. You have both the digits, उसका सम कर लो, your final answer. तो यहाँ पे आप while लूप यूज कर सकते हो क्योंकि नंबर का इनिशियलाइजेशन तो ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, यूजर ने नंबर दिया आपको. देन आप क्या करोगे, while नंबर इज ग्रेटर देन 10, दैट विल बी योर कंडीशन. while के अंदर क्या करोगे आप, num डिवाइड इक्वल्स टू 10. नंबर को 10 से डिवाइड करके वापस नंबर में डाल दोगे. दैट्स इट. एक while लूप यूज करना है यहाँ पे. सो दैट्स योर 20th प्रोग्राम. Then 21st, let us discuss this one. Write a C program to find sum and average. Okay, जितना भी नंबर हमें मिलते हैं हम ऐड करते जाएंगे और लास्ट में डिवाइड बाय टोटल नंबर्स जितने भी मिले थे उसको काउंट करने के बाद डिवाइड कर लेंगे तो एवरेज भी मिल जाएगा. So sum and average of different numbers which are accepted by user. Okay, यूजर जितने भी नंबर देना चाहते दे सकता है, एज मैनी एज यूजर वांट्स. तो अब यहाँ पे आ जाएगा फंडा कौन सा, वी नीड टू आस्क यूजर डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू. हमने लेक्चर में वो प्रोग्राम देखा था, एडिशन सब्ट्रैक्शन कैलकुलेटर वाला. समथिंग लाइक दैट यू हैव टू डू हियर. यू हैव टू आस्क यूजर डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू. अगर यूजर यस बोलता है तो नेक्स्ट नंबर उसके पास से ले लो, अगर यूजर नो बोलता है तो स्टॉप कर दो. So that's the 21st program. Let me show you that program also. But before that, let us discuss 22nd also. 22nd program is simple one. It requires double loop, okay, as given hint. use nested for loops. अब क्यों nested चाहिए? Because it says you have to take 5 students data और हर एक स्टूडेंट के लिए आपको 3 सब्जेक्ट भी लेना है. तो आउटर लूप आपका 5 बार चलेगा, इनर लूप जो है वो आपका 3 बार चलेगा. टू टेक 3 सब्जेक्ट मार्क्स. अब वो मार्क्स का हर बार आप मार्क्स लेके क्या करोगे, आप टोटल भी करोगे और एवरेज भी निकालोगे. सो टोटल एंड एवरेज 21st प्रोग्राम के जैसा ही हो गया ये भी. इट्स ओनली द डिफरेंसेस, यहाँ पे एक लूप चलेगा जबकि यहाँ पे 2 लूप चलेंगे. ओके, सो आई शो यू द 21st program and 22nd program. You can do it by yourself. If you feel any difficulty, you may always ask me, but I leave it up to you. You have to complete these many programs. So 18, 19, 20, 21 and 22. Total 5 programs I want you to complete today. So before you get your hands dirty, let us have a look at 21st program also. So चलो एक और program आपको करके दिखा दूँ. So we'll go to the file here. And let me create a new file, practical 21. What happened? Oh, sorry, my mistake. 21.c. It should be .c. That's why it was not getting that comment. Okay, so this is my 21st program. Okay. Practical, yeah, it is not getting me proper suggestions. It's okay. Oh, I'm not writing hash sign here, sorry. So hash include stdio.h, then int main. Now what we want here is we are going to ask user to enter a number, and we will require that number. We'll work with integer numbers only, so we'll require number. Now we will also require a counter, CNT, just to count how many numbers user has given to us. And we will require one character choice, character ch. Okay, because we are going to ask user, do you want to continue, yes or no, and so on. Fine. And if you remember, we will be going for do while loop here, because exit control loop we will be using here, not while statement. Yeah, do while. And at this place I can compare this character ch, whether that character is equals to y or not, capital or small, right? So you can have or condition here, or ch is double equals to capital Y. Till that time you are going to repeat this loop. So inside your loop you have to ask your user /n, do you want to continue, yes or no, right? And we have to scan that thing, scanf. And now if you remember, we faced a problem, buffer. It takes one character from the buffer. To overcome that problem, I'll have a single space here. So %c ampersand ch. So that's how I can repeat this process till user wants. जब तक user को ये process करना है कर सकता है. Now which process? So at this place now we are going to ask user printf enter a number and you will scan that number here, %d ampersand num. अब यूजर के पास से आपने नंबर ले लिया, then what you want to do is you need to have sum and you need to have average. Okay, so let us have sum here and average is going to be float, so float avg. Now these are my variables. I'm going to initialize sum with 0 so that I can use shorthand operator here. So that's going to be sum plus equals to current number will give me the total sum. अब एवरेज हम यहाँ पे नहीं करेंगे, लेकिन हम यहाँ पे काउंट करेंगे यूजर ने कितने नंबर्स दिए. ओके, वी आर गोइंग टू काउंट इट. वी आर गोइंग टू इनिशियलाइज आवर काउंटर विथ 0. इनिशियली हमारे पास एक भी नंबर नहीं है, लेकिन जैसे ही यूजर आपको एक नंबर देता है, यू आर गोइंग टू इंक्रीज योर काउंटर CNT प्लस प्लस. सिंपल. जैसे ही आप यूजर के पास से एक नंबर लेते हो, आप अपने काउंटर को इंक्रीज कर लोगे. भाई ये 0 था तो चलो पहला नंबर आ गया, दूसरी बार ये वाइल लूप चलेगा तो दूसरा नंबर आ गया, तीसरी बार अगर ये वाइल लूप चलेगा तो आप बोलोगे कि तीसरा नंबर आ गया. सो दिस CNT is just a counter. It is going to count how many numbers user has entered, because we need that counter to calculate average later on. So जैसे ही ये while loop खत्म होता है, what you can do is you can calculate your average now. What will be the average? Average will be equals to sum divided by counter. ठीक है, sum divided by total numbers. That will be your average. But now look, sum is integer, counter is also integer. तो ये calculation भी integer होगा. That should not happen. तो हम क्या करेंगे, सम या तो फिर काउंटर, दोनों में से किसी एक को एक्सप्लिसिटली फ्लोट बना दो, टाइप कास्ट. ओके, तो किसी एक को फ्लोट कर दिया तो फाइनल आंसर भी फ्लोट हो जाएगा. वेल दैट्स इट. वी डू हैव सम एंड एवरेज बोथ. वी कैन प्रिंट नाउ. सम विल बी %d sum एंड उसके बाद printf average is going to be %f, point to f कर दो, and it's going to be avg variable. That's it. अब जब simply आंसर प्रिंट करने से पहले /n और खत्म होने के बाद simple /n. That's it. So this is my 21st program now. क्या किया? Let us understand. यूजर के पास से जैसे ही एक नंबर लोगे, आप अपना काउंटर बढ़ाओगे, जस्ट टू काउंट कि अब तक मैंने कितने नंबर्स ले लिए. व्हाट इज CNT? CNT इज नथिंग बट सिंपल इंटीजर वेरिएबल. 0 से इनिशियलाइज करके हर बार इंक्रीज करता जाऊंगा. as soon as I have one number, मैं वो नंबर को सम में ऐड करते जाऊंगा, सो मुझे टोटल भी मिल जाएगा. एंड देन आई एम गोइंग टू आस्क यूजर, डू यू वांट टू कंटिन्यू? अगर यूजर यस बोलता है तो हम कंटिन्यू करेंगे, यूजर नो बोलता है तो हम ये लूप ब्रेक करके आगे चले जाएंगे. व्हाट विल डू लेटर? हम एवरेज कैलकुलेट करेंगे और प्रिंट करेंगे. दैट्स इट. सो इफ वी रन दिस कोड नाउ, इट इज गोइंग टू आस्क अस अ नंबर. सो ठीक है, 1. Then it will ask, do you want to continue? Yes, I want to continue. It will ask again a number. Let's say 2. Do you want to continue? Yes. Third number उसने मांगा 3. Do you want to continue? Yes. चौथा नंबर मांग लिया उसने 4. Do you want to continue? Now let's say हम no बोलते हैं. No. तो जैसे ही मैं no बोलूँगा, वो मुझे sum और average दोनों दे देगा. So 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4. टोटल हो गया 10. 10 डिवाइड बाय कितने नंबर थे? 4. ठीक है, टोटल कितने नंबर थे? 4. सो 10 डिवाइड बाय 4, 2.5. So that's our average. and that's the program, right? So excuse me, this is the 21st program, and this is how you can achieve choice based iteration. जब तक यूजर चाहे तब तक इसको रिपीट कर सकता है. This is something like choice based iteration. Okay, so दो प्रोग्राम मैंने करके दिखा दिए, बाकी के 3 प्रोग्राम आप कर सकते हो. That is your task now. So start from 18, try to complete up to 22nd. That's all. Now before I stop recording, just post your enrollment numbers in a chat box so that your attendance will be recorded. और enrollment number post करने के बाद आप ये प्रोग्राम 1 by 1 बनाना स्टार्ट कर सकते हो. कहीं पे भी आपको डिफिकल्टी लगे, एरर मिलती है, यू आर नॉट एबल टू सॉल्व इट, आस्क मी. हम वो प्रॉब्लम सॉल्व करेंगे और ट्राई करेंगे कि ये सारे प्रोग्राम आज खत्म हो जाए. So do it now. Just post your enrollment number in a chat box and then you start doing your programs. Well, 7 students and 7 numbers. Okay, so I'm going to stop this recording now and you do your task.